Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Paul. How's it going?
Pretty good, my friend. We're here to talk about Nepo Babies, a term that I hadn't heard before a couple of days ago. What
Hmm.
about you? Because it's
Nope.
everywhere now, and it is technically in our wheelhouse. I hate to say it. It's one of those things, it wouldn't be top of my list to talk about usually, but this is a Hollywood topic.
It's a bit of a weird one. Yeah, and so you mentioned it. I hadn't heard it, and then I started looking it up, and I was just like, well, this is an interesting subject for us to take on. I think we will be very well capable of this endeavor to venture into the Nepo baby, which is seas of and cesspools of things. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of have this conversation because I think we are known as industry setters, or like the ones who kind of
Oh, we're the
people listen
trendsetters,
to us.
aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we have the voice of the people. We have Vox hear us out.
I think we better jump into this before you sell us as like kings of Hollywood here. Although, you know what? It's not us who said it. Someone else said that about us, I'm sure. But you know who didn't? Our favorite commenter, and I got to call it out because we've never had it live. David, if you're still watching live, thank you for your comment. You've told us how terrible our stuff is so consistently. We thank you for the view, and that's kind of cool. It's always nice to have somebody who'll keep you grounded, especially Paul, since we're calling ourselves trendsetters. So
Yeah.
my my thing to throw out to everybody who's watching: Nepo babies. Do they have anything to apologize for? Because when I heard the term, and I was like, I hope Nepo stands for nepotism, because otherwise I'm just way out of the loop. I was like, is Nepo a thing? What is that like a? Is that the latest pop star that I haven't heard of? But when somebody explained, no, it's children of famous people getting into the public eye and doing things. I was like, well, so, and then it had to
Yeah.
be explained to me that there was a furore around it.
Yeah, there was an article. There was an article by Vulture, which kind of kicked this all off.
Yeah, I've
And
actually
then
done a little selection of some headlines. So yeah, keep going. I'll flash up some headlines.
yeah, no, it was just the how a nepo baby is born. Hollywood has always loved the children of famous people. Is the article that kind of kicked this off and started making the rounds around the social media
Well,
kind of things, which is it's just a bit of a weird one.
and the more I looked, the worse this got because like everybody covered it. Absolutely everybody jumped on this in the matter. It looks like in a matter of days. So I just started thinking, well, we should talk about it while it's trending because maybe we'll catch some SEO. Hi there, if you've never seen us before, please check out our other stuff, like, share, subscribe. But it really bothered me on another level because there were people attacking and people defending. And my mind was, why aren't there a bunch of people going, this is a neutral? This is a non issue on such a weird level for me that I really want to talk about it. Because no, nobody has anything to apologize for. If you end up being successful or having access to something because of your privilege, let's say, it's not something you apologize for. It's something you can recognize and it's something you can acknowledge. But for people who are directly angry at those people, I was like, wow, that's not the conversation. Whether or not opportunities for people because of their name is right or not should be about the people giving those opportunities, not about the people getting those opportunities. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, like I kind of split it up into two categories, kind of thing, which is the initial start off part,
Right.
and then everything after that. So like I know that people like so this is people were saying that like at the start of this that it's just like they get unfair advantages, and I'm just like tough. That's just the way that people who've put in a lot of effort and
Yeah.
put in a lot of effort and have come out the other side successful. I agree. They should try and help their families into better situations. And the other side of that was that like the first movie that they get is a lot of an easier trend, a lot of an easier track kind of thing, which I part. This is where I'm kind of more separate. I'm kind of like, that's a little bit more kind of an annoyance to me. But that's it. Like it's just like I'm not going to I'm not going to Reddit or Twitter and just been like, what the hell's going on? You know, I'm more kind of like, yeah, that's a bit annoying, but you know,
I'll be honest with you. It's just for me, it's the lack of the scientific method here in some ways. To narrow it down to this and not acknowledge that there are so many other ways. What about if, okay, so you're the son of two famous actors and you end up becoming an actor, and people say, well, you got your, you're talented, but you only got your chance because of your name and who your parents were, and they helped push you in or get whatever into that first role. To which I say, well, rich people have been doing that much more consistently, in all sorts of ways. And why is it so weird that somebody who spent their entire life around people in film would then end up want to be in film and may actually be quite qualified and possibly have had a lot of practice? Not only that, maybe know their way around not just a movie set, but also the industry, and understand how to prepare for things. Talking about having in-home coaches for things.
yeah,
So yes, there's advantages, but anytime someone calls it an advantage and says that just with the pure pejorative, the pure negative, I think, well, you're really being fair, because rich people have been pushing their kids to have opportunities and buying opportunities for their kids for years. Also,
yeah.
let's not forget race, gender, height, whatever it might be. Some of those things can naturally get you ahead. So why single this out now? That hit me as a bit weird. Why this and why now?
Yeah, I think. See, okay, I when I first heard about this, answering this question of why now, it definitely felt like it's a bunch of people who didn't make it in the industry, and they're
Okay.
trying to find someone to blame. That's just me. It just feels like people who, to me, it just feels like, yeah, it's a bunch of people who weren't good enough. Because there's plenty of famous people. Sorry, there's plenty of new celebrities that have come up from TV, and they've been unknown, and they've done the effort, and they've worked and stuff like that, and they've gotten through it, even though they're not a family name,
Mm.
kind of thing. On top of that, there's a lot of nepo babies which have changed their name to specifically not be in any way connected to their parents.
Nicolas
So,
Cage
like,
has a famous relative called Coppola and famously changed his name to Cage because people kept going, you're like Coppola? Are you Francis Ford Coppola's son? He's like, not his son, but I am related. So,
yeah,
yeah, is he a Nepo baby? He was on his very first movie, but according to him, he wasn't. He'd got there on merit, not because of the Coppola thing, and he hadn't been boosted to taking his side of the story here. So where does
hmm
that leave you? He found it to actually be something that he didn't want to get labeled with.
well, that's see, yeah. This is my thing. Is the fact is that, like, there's people out there who have definitely come up for the ranks of kind of tried hard and stuff like that, because like we've had John Krasinski and which was um Chris Pratt. Those two are not famous names. Ryan Reynolds isn't a famous name.
Nope.
There's plenty of
Well,
people in the industry.
there are way more people who aren't
Yes.
than are.
Yeah, and like it's a kind of thing of like people are focusing in on this. As you said, more rich people do this all the time, but it's not even like rich people. Um,
Oh, good
um,
sneeze.
it's also the fact is, like, if you're, as you said, if your family is in the industry, like I know plenty of people who have accounting families. They're families who have like generations of accountants. They've just it's because they've been living around accountants. They've already known accountants. They've made a good life because they're accountants. So, and lawyers as well, family of lawyers. Like, it's just it's essentially like if your family is tend to. I myself am in IT. My dad is in IT. So like I also like. Does that make me kind of a weird IT nepo baby? Like, kind
Yeah,
of thing. Like, it's
definitely
like,
not.
yeah. See this. Yeah, this is the thing. Is it linked to industry alone? Like, or
Well,
is it an overall kind of thing? Because
see,
like,
yeah, you've asked the awkward question for people who are really into this now, because is it linked to industry alone? Because let's even take something else in the public eye, like sport. how many people would say, "Oh, look, famous name, got you there," and then everyone will say, "Yeah, but sport kind of most sports show that you have to have the skill or not." Um, and okay, my chosen sport, motorsport, yes, rich famous people buy their way in for their kids a lot. But those kids that people are like, oh, they're only there because of the money. No, they may only be there because of the money, but they wouldn't have been able to get there at all without the talent also to be able to keep a minimum level. So what you're
Yeah,
saying is they're not going to win an Oscar, but they're a good enough actor to deserve to have a role in movies, in the equivalent movie scenario. And not
yeah.
everybody's going to be an Oscar level actor because it shouldn't be. Not everybody should be. There's going to be exceptional people in every field.
Mhm.
To say that somebody can make it in Hollywood and be terrible, I'm gonna pick my favorite example of all this, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis had two very famous parents,
Yeah,
and her breakout movie Halloween, Paul, a little movie we've talked about
yeah,
before. Her mum was in The Shower in Psycho.
yeah.
How much do you think the people that were casting her in Halloween stopped and thought, you know what? She can act, but it'll be bloody great actually if we choose her, because then we'll be able to do the whole like slasher connection and we'll be able to use this as part of PR. But do you think anybody in the room, if she couldn't act at all, would have gone, yeah, it's not going to work. Like she can't even read lines. We would have to be writing in marker on people's face who are in sharing scenes with her. Do you think they would have gone ahead? Do you think John Carpenter would have said, yeah, let's make
No.
Halloween with somebody who can't act?
No, you see, that's yeah. This is the thing. You need the talent. You might need the connections to get there, but you need the talent to stay there.
Yep.
And like, yeah, like Jamie Lee Curtis is a really good example, and also one of the most surprising ones out of this group because like a lot of people didn't know the fact that she technically would be an Nepo baby as well.
Yeah, good point, actually.
Like a lot of people,
Just, yeah,
like
generationally, I guess people will have forgotten. That's a good point.
like yeah, like that's what she came out. The Jamie Lee Curtis came out and said, "I would also be one of these," because of my parents.
Of course.
Like, but there's tons of Robbie Downey Jr., his dad was a director, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Like, there's plenty of like, examples of them out there. But Robbie Downey Jr. now praised as one of the like, one of the most happiest, one of like everybody throws thrills when he's in a movie,
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing.
true.
Whereas like, he fought to be there. He fought a lot to be there, you know?
Yeah,
And I so like I just don't see, and I don't see the you're right. I don't see the point in this because the percentage of the amount of them that are probably existing who get to stay in the industry is probably very low, you
well,
know?
and that's the thing. Let's chunk it up and throw it behind us as we go. So first chunk, should anybody be mad at these people over their perceived unfair advantage? Not at them, because that's what I was saying at the very very start. You have to have. Nobody's putting Jamie Lee Curtis in there if she can't act. It may have
Yeah.
been an advantage in lots of business ways and in lots of ways. Advantage, yes, but if you haven't got the talent, you don't get to stay. So,
Mhm.
should you be angry at the person? No. Then there's the other side of the question. Is it fair in general? Should you be angry at the system that allows this to happen to give them that unfair advantage in the way up? So, Paul, just for the sake of pulling up some surprising images, because there's people that everybody think of. Well, actually, I'll start with Catwoman, Zoe
Yeah.
Kravitz. Two famous parents, has started or not started, is in the process of building a career, because she's not, she's on her way up. Her ascendancy is still climbing. She's
Yeah.
still young, still getting roles. Do I think that Lenny Kravitz's name, being a musician, helped her more than her mother's name, where her mother was a famous actress in the Cosby Show? No, they were just both really famous public figures. It wouldn't really have been specifically to acting, not in the way for some other people. So do you think she had an unfair advantage? Do you think anybody was thinking the Kravitz name is really going to help?
No. This is yeah. Like I don't think that if you put the Kravitz like name up on Batman, I don't think people will be just like, oh my god, I really want to see that movie because there's a Kravitz in it.
Yeah.
You know, I doubt people even realize that she had famous parents.
Well, I doubt that a lot of people realize that both of her parents are famous because one
Yeah,
of them, Lenny Kravitz, is the name. But Lisa Bonet, and again, generationally, a lot of people haven't been around to see The Cosby Show or remember her or any of that. And then you've got another one in Maya Hawke, Ethan Hawke and Uma
yeah,
Thurman's kid. I had to be told that she had famous parents. And do you know when I was told that? I was told that while watching Stranger Things, which is the first thing I ever saw her in, and saying to my partner, "Oh, she's really good." And that's when somebody turned around and went, "Yeah, well, both of her parents were in the business." I'm like, "Oh, really? Who's her parents?" And she's like, "That's Maya Hawke." I'm like, "Oh, great. Ethan Hawke's kid." Yeah, and Uma Thurman. I'm like, "Oh, wow. Oh, well, fair play. She's doing a great job." I didn't think, "Oh, look at that. Just in because of her famous parents."
yeah. Like your first thought wasn't, "Oh, now I hate her because she had unfair advantages." You know, it
No.
didn't even come into mind. You were just like, that person really fits the role.
Yeah. And to be fair, is it awful if me, you, and I better pick somebody who would likely be cast against us? Uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with a stretch and say Quaid, Jack Quaid. So me,
Hmm.
you, and Jack Quaid. So you've got Jack Quaid. For anybody who doesn't realize, that's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son. Two extremely famous people from the 80s. Two of the most extremely famous people from the 80s. And
Yeah.
he's now doing a great job in The Boys. So let's say that three of us were in auditioning for a role, and me or you are sitting there going, "Well, this is unfair. Like his parents, like they're royalty. That's how he got this audition." At which point you have to ask yourself, why is he auditioning? If that's
Hmm.
what got him there, and why would you be seeing him there auditioning for starters? So that hypothetical has a few problems. But then you hear you didn't get it, and he wasn't at an audition, but you hear this kid of a famous person got it. Are you going to go, "Oh, they only picked him because of that"? No, you're going to wait and watch the performance and then go, "Yeah, no, he's really good. I can see why he got it over me." Or, maybe I'm good enough, but he was also good. If these people were all terrible, then I could understand the argument.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit on that
Really?
part. As in, like, I do believe that Jan O'Carroll has the talent to do it,
You
and
don't
I
think
believe
he's
that
a
if
good
you're,
actor?
I do believe he's a
Oh,
good
okay.
actor. No, no, no,
Oh,
no. I
so
believe he has the talent. When you were saying, I don't think I'd be like, oh, he got it because he has rich parents. If I was one of the people who didn't get it, definitely think that. I think
ah,
this, as I said, this
yeah.
is. I think this is where this. I think this is where it stems from.
Well, no, that's
I
true,
think.
but for me, I don't. And I recently
No.
saw John Cryer from famous for Two and a Half Men. He was, oh god, what role was it that he messed up by not going for the Steve Buscemi role in Reservoir Dogs? Like he didn't even
Hmm.
go to the audition, and they're like, "Do you kick yourself over it?" And he's like, "No," because I watched the movie, I saw the performance, and I was like, "They chose well." But he's
Yeah.
like, "I have gone for roles where I've watched people who got it, and and I still think I would have been better." And like that I can completely understand.
Hmm.
If somebody gets it and they're terrible, you'd be very right to be annoyed. Or if you know that you could have done better. And
Yeah, but
ego's a bit
like
of a tough one there, but
yeah, no, no. As I said, I agree that like me and you would probably watch any performance that we missed out on in an audition because we're also film lovers, kind of thing. But if this is if I feel like this if the origins of why you're becoming an actor is essentially to become famous and not for the love of the craft, I feel like that's where the difference will be. Me and you would love to be like in the movies, and I don't even know if it's like acting, probably more writing or directing or something like that. But that's just me. But like, if like if we were beaten out by someone who's just better, and then we watch
yeah.
the film and we're just like, yeah, they're just better, kind of thing, we wouldn't be bitter. But if, as I said, if this, I think it's
A
the
lot of people
origins
would
of
be, is
why
what you're
you become
saying.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think this is kind of it's a weird kind of like movement of privilege, as in it started up by people who've been pushed aside because of famous people who have had the talents to go further. And of course, currently, I think we're very charged in a way of privilege, that we're very kind of against privilege kind of thing. Whereas, like, the difference is that it's just like, a lot of these people are like getting their foot in the door either by themselves or getting their foot in the door because of their name, and then staying there because they're good.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of examples of a few people who have, like, Jaden Smith is a perfect example of, like, because he did the Karate Kid, he was all right in that, and then he did After Earth, and it was just like, we haven't seen him in a movie since,
It
and it's
it
just because, and it, no,
didn't
no,
go well.
and it's no, like, I'm not going to slag him because he wasn't good or anything like that, but it's just the example of the fact is that if you don't have the talent to stay here, you can get your foot in the door with the help of your name, but you won't stay there. Because,
Yeah.
like, if you're not bringing, like, because this is where the system breaks, where the system is uncaring. It's like, cool, your name is perfect, let's get you in a movie. Oh, you're terrible. Yeah, this isn't the publicity that we really want for this movie or any movie, so we're gonna let you go, kind of thing,
And I would understand the Nepo Baby argument a lot more. And I'm gonna try and pick somebody from the list that I have some pictures of. Uh, there's somebody who's a great example actually. John David Washington, Denzel Washington's kid,
Hmm.
son. I shouldn't say kid. He's a grown man. Um, oh, like he came out of nowhere and he's doing so well. Nah, he didn't. He didn't just come out of nowhere, and he's not just doing so well. He's working really hard and performing really well. So what you just said, yeah, you don't get to stay there. But should the system allow that opportunity at the start? So, and again, I want to be fair to the other side of the argument. So I want to devil's advocate this a little bit. Is it
Hmm.
really unfair that any of these factors, famous parents or, industry connections can get you an opportunity? Because I say no, it's no more unfair than all of the other reasons that can get you an opportunity. Do you think if Margot Robbie looked like me, she would have had the same opportunities that she has? And I can take it, Paul. You can
No.
say that, yeah. I don't think I would have made a very good, attractive Australian person. It's call it what it is. Sometimes it's just creating opportunity. It's how that opportunity is created, be it being the right time and place, from the right background, with the right opportunities, knowing the right people, having the right look, being the right thing that's popular right now.
Hmm.
And I don't think anybody who's saying, like, John David Washington, or like, do you know that Bill Pullman's kid was in Maverick? Because I did, but I'd forgotten it. So like, Bill Pullman, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Lewis Pullman is Bob in.
you know
Now there's two guys down to the flight suit that ended up doing movies with American military aircraft. Did he get prepared by his dad's roles to bring him there?
yeah.
No, he didn't. No, he fucking didn't. He's an actor, and it's why begrudge people, and why concentrate on this? Because there's so much wrong with so many industries. How has this become the thing that's got all the lightning?
Yeah, it's okay. So it feels like it's become, so it's like this is the next thing that we need to be outraged about. Like, we were outraged about the level of nefarious ways that people got into the industry, as in the Harvey Weinstein stuff. The Harvey Weinstein kind of elements of this. Is this the next thing that it's just like, okay, have we like emptied the well of things to be outraged by for this industry, that we're now going after people who are, like, fairly hardworking people who've been there a long time and, like, have done, like, the necessary things. Yes, they've had a few, like, open doors along the way that probably helped them get there a little bit faster than other people. But, like, talent doesn't really stay hidden
Well,
for long.
and that's the thing. Like, Harvey. I'm not a. I don't believe in hell, but I would like to believe in it just for Harvey Weinstein, because I hope that's. I hope he gets everything that's coming to him in any
Hmm.
universe, because he's that, like, all of that awful side of Hollywood and the
Hmm.
awful atrocities that you're kind of referring to there, those are the things that we should be genuinely all focusing our outrage on, because that's truly awful. The idea that somebody, because you could be mad at somebody because of their genetic coincidence, then be mad at somebody who happened to share an apartment when they were younger with Steven Spielberg or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Is that nepotism? Because then I can see if people were saying, "Oh, well, people who put their kids in movies, like Kevin Smith puts his kid in his movies. That's really not cool. He should really be auditioning actresses and like getting in actors who deserve that role." So, no, he's getting to create something. He's getting to decide who he has in mind when he's writing it. And yes, it is nepotism. Absolutely. Everybody hear me say it. I believe that it is nepotism by definition. But
Hmm.
is that something that there should be this level of outrage on when there are so many other things? Because is he doing anything wrong? Oh, well, keeping opportunities away from others. Well, creating opportunities for others as well. Would that opportunity exist if he's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to write this now because I don't know if I can put Harley in this. That level of stuff, I can understand there being more conversation because it is literal nepotism. You got the
Hmm.
job because somebody, wrote the movie with you in mind and they happen to be related to you. Okay. I don't know where that conversation goes, but it's a conversation. Everything else is absolute BS.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Because like the thing is that also you're also missing the fact that like yeah, Kevin Smith asked his got his cast his kid in it. Like there's some kid out there in like some you know end of the world place, and I don't mean like as in the world is ending, more in the kind of like some small town kind of thing, are gonna watch this movie, look at that person, and get inspired, and then maybe make their way towards towards becoming their own celebrity. Like you're also forgetting that movies also inspire people to join the industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you're just going to be like, we're just going to shut this off, we're like, you can't have dynasties, kind of thing. And it's just like, well, these aren't dynasties, really. These are just parents who are just like, as you said, there's like, if you pay for half the movie, I'm also going to be like, you can put whoever you want in the movie, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of executive producers, like who are famous, who put their kids in it and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
just I think just narrowing it down, like, or kind of being more kind of a strict on who can be in movies and stuff like that is not how we should be going. The industry is about inspiration and stuff like that, and storytelling and all that kind of stuff. So like, and once again, talent's not going to be hidden for long. So like, why are we getting angry at this? Like, why?
So now that we've covered the kind of nobody that's the target of this has anything to apologize. Uh,
Hmm.
it's just a happening in the world as to how everything works from that point of view. Then there's the final thing which we kind of covered. Is it taking opportunity away from others? Yes, in some case it might be, but again, them's the breaks. And if somebody fails out, then they're going to fail out, and they're not going to keep getting in the way repeatedly. Don't worry about that. And there are many other criteria that will give people an advantage that kept them in the way of someone else anyway. So there's the last part, and this is maybe the most insidious part. Did this really just come up as something that was, hey, look at this, isn't it interesting? Because I think that's how this probably really started. Because it's the sort of thing we would do a video on. People you
Hmm.
didn't know were related in Hollywood. On one of our light weeks where we're like, let's do something that isn't heavy and isn't gonna, you know, bother or depress anybody.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Bill Pullman's kid also flew in airplanes in movies? Happy, cool, interesting, weird. But some people hear that stuff and then go, why did they get that? Maybe there's a problem there. I'm like, yeah, do that. Absolutely follow that train of thought. But get to the point where actually, is it fair how people are selected? Is there any systematic problems? Should we be finding out about crap like Me Too, where people were just being awful and it needed to be exposed? And it's one of the more important things to happen in the industry in our time. Because yes, that had to happen and people needed to have light shone on them. There's probably something else here that this could lead somebody to, but we're never going to get there because everybody stopped at the headline of, oh, famous rich kids are just getting jobs because they're famous rich parents. I hate that. And like, there's real better actors who really are paying their dues, working hard in restaurants. Yeah. And they're also getting jobs and they're also doing well. And some of the most talented actors in the world have failed and we'll never get to see them because they weren't at the right audition, or they were sick on the
Yeah.
wrong day, or or whatever else it might be. Or maybe, you know, like us, the reason we have a channel that hasn't blown up yet is because we haven't had that one video that our most favorite critic didn't miss out on telling us how crap it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, just saying another little hello to David there. Thanks for joining. Um, yeah, Paul, it bothered me because it has all the hallmarks of something that could have been an analysis to say, is the selection criteria really fair? And look at that objectively. But it turned into a TMZ of, look at all these Nepo babies.
Yeah.
It's a good sign when you get a stupid name like Nepo Baby.
Yeah, yeah, like that's the criteria. Could this have led into industry change that, like, you know, helps other people to find their opportunity and stuff like that? Like, could have been the source of change? Yes, it could have been. Will it? Not until people get over the fact that this is just a thing that happens. As in, like, the Nepo baby thing, like, once you get past that hurdle and then start focusing on the selection process, the casting people and everything like that, and how they select people, and also the PR stuff, because it's also more marketing as well. Once you have a famous name in there, you're gonna, like, some movies don't get made without the famous name.
It ain't show
So
friends, it's show business.
you know, yeah, and so some names are just gonna be making the movie even better. So it's a whole system, not a whole system change, but something that we need to look at and be just like, we need to make this a little fair kind of thing. So, like, you know, yeah, I agree that this is a sideshow into this is a sideshow of what could be an industry change to make things a little bit more fair for other people, or at least
If
allow, like,
if that was the intention, you know, that's where this could have gone. If that was the
yeah,
intent behind it, but it's obviously not.
no,
It's somebody heard something and thought, and then, and I got to say, Paul, to kind of head us towards a close. Once I hear phrases now, I am such an old man on this one. I am now wary when I hear the latest new phrase for something because it usually gives me an indication that there was no seriousness behind it at the start. It's like, oh, Nepo babies, hashtag Nepo baby, blah, 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 blah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Is this something of substance? Maybe. I'll have to look into it. But if it was something of substance, it would probably be taken more seriously. And it wouldn't be getting catchy little titles like Nepo Baby.
yeah, yeah. There's certain, yeah. Always be careful of the sound bite. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So before we close out, you want to go to the comments, which, because
I'd
like,
love
I
to.
agree. So, um,
Yeah, it's
I
it's
only heard
it's not a
this
good show,
yesterday.
Paul. Neither one. We didn't have opposite views. It's awful. We should have probably found somebody who was really big into this on the other side of it.
That's
So
true.
if anybody out there wants to reach out and say you completely believe we're wrong, we'll absolutely entertain it. And you never know, we might entertain the idea of talking directly to you. Sorry, Paul. Go for the comments.
Yeah, no, it's like, which is, I was just thinking, yeah, it's normal for parents to look after them unless they're forcing them into the same industry, you know, kind of stuff. Look at the draw, which is, you know, your what if or kind of thing. Sports and music has it a lot too. Why are we focusing on one industry? I agree with Paul. The talent is, you know, the talent is ultimately what you keep there. There's
It's not.
plenty of
Yeah.
Nepo babies who have failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably came from some bitter child of an entertainment journalist who didn't get a role in a movie.
Yeah. And
So,
look, I don't like that life is unfair, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not
mhm.
defending any of the things that are ultimately wrong across everything. But I'm certainly not going to stand behind people going, you should feel bad for what you've done, John David Washington, or you know, anybody on that list. You're a talented actor now, but you never would have get a chance to show that you're a talented actor if it wasn't for your fame. I was like, forget about it. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Wrap us out, Paul.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. If there is any Nepo babies that you find annoying or anything like that, comment down below. If you care, comment down below. If you don't, comment down below. Otherwise, I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick. And we will see you.
Here.
Oh, we've been here out. Sorry. And we'll see you next time. I ruined it, Paul.
Bye.
Bye.
Nepo baby.